Hey everyone, today we're going to dive deep and unlock the secrets of the American accent. We're going to break down all those little things that native speakers do without even thinking so you can sound way more natural and fluent. You ready? Let's get into it.
So let me guess, you've put in the work, right? You've mastered the grammar, you've got a great vocabulary, but for some reason when you speak, it just doesn't sound, well, natural. It's a super common problem, so don't worry. The good news? It is absolutely solvable.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the real secret to fluency. Then we'll get into the shortcuts, all about connected speech. After that, we'll hit some of those signature American sounds. Then we'll zoom out and look at the music of English. And finally, I'll give you the absolute best way to practice all of this.
Okay, first things first. The biggest secret to fluency, it's not what you think. It's not about pronouncing every single word perfectly. Nope. It's all about understanding the rhythm, the flow, really the music of the language.
Yeah, exactly. The English language can sound, well, kind of musical. And that idea is so important. We're going to get into what a stress-timed language is later, but for now, just know that this musical quality is what we're aiming for. Thinking about it like music, that's the first big mental shift you need to make.
So how do native speakers talk so fast and create that musical flow? Well, they use shortcuts. Think of them as little tricks that blend words together to make everything sound smoother and, just faster.
Okay, let's start with the big one, probably the most common reduction you'll hear, going to. When it comes before a verb, we almost always say gonna. And listen, it's not a big, stressed word, it's just a quick little transition. So I'm going to go just becomes I'm gonna go. See how that flows?
And it's the exact same deal with want to. That becomes wanna. And this isn't about being lazy, not at all. It's all about being efficient and keeping that rhythm. So a question like, what do you want to do, just naturally smooths out into, what do you want to do?
This happens with a bunch of other little words too, what we call function words. When we don't stress them, the vowel sound gets really soft and weak. It's called a schwa. So to becomes ta, for becomes fur, and can even just turn into a quick n sound. Like in rock and roll.
All right, another cool shortcut is something called assimilation. It's basically when two sounds are next to each other and they kind of blend together to make a whole new sound. It just makes things easier to say. And you hear this constantly, especially in questions.
So, for example, take don't you. That T sound in don't hits the Y sound in you, and they morph into a ch sound, don't ya? Pretty cool, right? Same thing with did you. The D and the Y blend together to make a j sound, did ya? So a question like, what did you do, becomes, what did you do? It just rolls off the tongue.
Okay, so we've got our shortcuts. Now, let's build on that. There are a couple of sounds that are just signature American English. I'm telling you, if you can master these, it will be a total game changer for your accent.
First up, the flap T. This is a huge one. It's when the letter T stops sounding like a T and starts sounding like a soft D. They call it a flap because that's literally what your tongue does. It just quickly flops up and tops the roof of your mouth. It's not a hard D, just a really light, quick tap.
So, the big question is, when do you actually use it? Well, there are three main rules to look out for. The number one most common time is when a T is stuck between two vowel sounds. You'll also hear it pop up with L sounds, like in the word little, and with R sounds, like in the word party.
Let's really listen for it. Between vowels, you get words like water and better. With an L sound, you get little and bottle. And with an R sound, you hear it in party and daughter. Hear that? That soft D sound is in all of them. Okay, the other signature sound is the American R. It's a really strong, kind of growly sound, and it's all about what your tongue is doing. You have to pull your tongue way back in your mouth, have the sides touch your top teeth, and then point the tip up, but don't let it touch anything. It should feel tense. Give it a try.
All right, so we've got the shortcuts and we've got those key signature sounds. Now it's time to put it all together and talk about the bigger picture, the music of English. We're talking about the rhythm and the pitch that all these little pieces help create. Remember how I mentioned earlier that English is a stress-timed language? Well, here's what that means. Think of a song. The main beats happen at pretty regular intervals, right? English is like that. The stressed words are the beats, and to make sure those beats stay on time, all the little unstressed words in between have to get squeezed and rushed. And that's why all those reductions and shortcuts we just talked about are so important.
So check this out.
Take this sentence. If I say every single word perfectly and clearly, it sounds like this. He's going to go to the gym, right? It sounds totally robotic and unnatural.
But a native speaker doesn't do that. They're only focusing on the important words, the ones that carry the meaning. In this case, that's gonna, go, and gym. Those are the beats. Everything else is just filler that gets squeezed in between.
And look what happens when we put it all together. Going to becomes gonna. To the gets reduced way down, and hey, look, the T in to is now between two vowel sounds, so it becomes a flap T. So go to the turns into gutta, and the whole thing just flows together with that natural rhythm. He's gonna go to the gym.
Okay, the very last piece of the musical puzzle is intonation. This is just the pitch of your voice, whether it goes up or down. As a general rule, for statements, your voice goes down at the end. And for simple yes or no questions, your voice goes up at the end. It's like the melody of your sentence.
Phew, okay, that was a lot of theory, I know. But how do you actually practice this stuff so it becomes second nature, so you don't even have to think about it? Well, there's one technique that honestly is more powerful than anything else you can do.
It's called shadowing, and the idea is actually really simple. You just listen to a native speaker, and you talk at the exact same time as them. You try to copy everything, not just the words, but the speed, the rhythm, the intonation, all those little shortcuts. It's exactly like singing along to your favorite song. You're training your mouth and your ears to work together to reproduce the music.
So I want to leave you with this one final thought. What if becoming truly fluent isn't really about memorizing more grammar rules from a textbook? What if it's all about training your ears to really hear the music of the language and then just learning how to sing along?